Puyo Puyo Tetris 2!
Good afternoon, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'm going to be reviewing to you Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 for the Nintendo Switch, and I haven't even reviewed Puyo Puyo Tetris 1. I have a confession to make before we begin this footage, if you don't mind. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It has been almost a year since my last confession, and too long since I last got a haircut. I confess that in this footage, I have used way too much Sonic fan service and not enough of the other modes in the game because I am a huge Sonic fanboy, and 2021 marks Sonic's 30th anniversary and Sega hasn't really done anything to celebrate. Well, just make sure that your love for Sonic doesn't get in the way of your love for the Lord and serving Him. Now, for your penance, I want you to make sure that you re-review Sonic Mania Plus so that you can doubly celebrate Sonic's 30th anniversary, because birthdays are precious and mark an icon's entrance into the world, and for all you know, Sonic may have changed many, many lives, and we should be thankful for that. So yes, as you can probably imagine, the Sonic fan service that they added via a free patch, while I was actually still playing this, mind you, was the biggest draw for me out of all of this, hence why the footage is probably going to seem a lot more boring and not full of variety as you might expect from a professional reviewer. But hey, I love Sonic. I should be allowed to celebrate a gaming icon. So, I didn't review the original Puyo Tetris, and this version, from what I've been told, doesn't really change a whole lot, so in the end it doesn't really matter. Really, the only reason it justifies the 2 in the title is because it once again has a story mode. The original version had a story mode, but this time it's a continuation of the events of the first game, albeit the setup is really weird because the characters don't remember the events of the previous game, but they still remember some of the characters that they met that originally they didn't really know about, but they don't remember, like, that they're friends with each other, so there's a lot of repeat introductions. But that being said, it is fully voiced, and Sega did hire some really top-tier voice actors, including Matt Mercer and Cassandra Lee Morris, and most of the time, the voice acting is intentionally cheesy, but I think the voice actors did a good enough job in this wacky kind of world, even if it always doesn't make sense why they're complaining. Like, one character is like, why does this guy always say goo 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 when his own partner always says pee 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 pee? So there's a bit of contradiction there in their reasoning. But overall, I prefer games to have a story over not having a story, and this one's charming enough with a lot of sort of innocent, childlike writing that makes it a blast for the whole family, even if I couldn't finish it because it was getting a bit hard and frustrating near the end. And they do give you the option to skip the stage if you're having just too much trouble, but considering how I'm not really that good at Puyo compared to Tetris, I felt like it wasn't worth it. Now, as far as what's the same, that's pretty much everything else, but I want to make a few notices to the changes, because there are at least a couple of new modes and additions. For starters, in the story mode, you can now choose some of the levels slightly out of order. You still have the option to go straight to the next story beat if you don't want to grind for new characters and themes. So the option is nice for players that prefer a more non-linear story over players that just want to hurry up and get to the credits, like yours truly. The other addition is an RPG mechanic, which I believe is called Team Battle, where you select 3 of the characters, and each group of characters has unique power-ups, like one character can give you health recovery, the other can get rid of a single line of blocks, and so on. These use magic points to use, and the magic fills up over time. You can also customize and mix and match the teams in the menus so that you can have it to your liking, and also choose whether you're going to play Puyo or Tetris. I don't know why Japanese people tend to repeat names. Like, one Puyo is enough, in my opinion. This mode was honestly probably the weakest part of the entire experience for me, just because I feel like it wasn't properly explained. And as far as magic points, they say it replenishes over time, but for me it didn't feel like the magic points replenished at all, and it wasn't very clear what parameters the game was setting to ensure that you were refilling your magic points. It also didn't make sense how even if I was pulling out all of the stops to do the best maneuvers, the opponent would still somehow be able to defeat me in one hit, and I wasn't even really sure what I was doing wrong. Now granted, your characters can level up and gain stuff like attack points and hearts, but I wish, one, there was a way to do this in the actual story mode as opposed to going all the way to the menu just to edit a team. And second, I wish there was more of like an auto team builder that made it so that you at least stood a fighting chance against your opponent. They do have a default team option, but in my opinion, that's just, I don't know, it just didn't feel good enough, and I felt like I was constantly floundering in the dark. And even after I watched the tutorial, I was like, this just feels like a cool idea that they could have fleshed out more to make it even better. Now, as far as what's the same, there's pretty much everything else is more or less a copy and paste of the original game. You've still got the main Puyo and Tetris gameplays, which, just in case you haven't heard of either one of them and you can't tell from this footage what Tetris is, Tetris involves taking blocks that are in the shape of 4 mini blocks coming together to make one tetrimino shape, and you have to create lines. And you keep going until your screen fills up. In the case of Puyo, you take 2 blobs instead of 4 of varying colors, and you have to match 4 or more of a color to make the blobs pop. It's a lot less disgusting than it sounds. And again, like Tetris, you keep going until your screen fills up. There's also modes where they combine the 2 games, and I'm not going to describe all of them in depth, but 2 of my favorites would include the combination mode, where you'll have 2 separate game boards, one with your Tetris gameplay and one with your Puyo gameplay, where you'll see like the 2 swapping, and you'll have to see which one will fail first. But then the one that I like even better is when the boards don't swap, and instead you keep playing on the board and you'll just get different pieces. So like 1 minute you'll be playing with tetriminos and the next you'll be playing with Puyo blobs. And this is so much fun that I actually didn't even mind when I lost, as I just loved the concept of maybe making a color chain with my Puyo blocks and then using a Tetris piece to squish all of them. Also, not to mention that thanks to the update, you can now play as Sonic Puyos and Tetriminos, so you could maybe line up a bunch of the faces of Tails the Fox. Because how do you say Tailses in English language without feeling like you're offending every grammar Nazi in the universe? Honestly, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is not a bad game, but it kind of feels pointless in the light of the fact that you've got Tetris 99, and there's also a Puyo Champions game on the Switch if you just want Puyo and not Tetris. However, one thing that I think does set this apart is the Sonic fan service. If you're a diehard Sonic fanboy like me, you are gonna love the fact that you can listen to 2 Sonic songs, including the Sonic Generations remix of Escape from the City, and you can also listen to a pseudo remix of one of the levels from Sonic Colors. You can also play as, I believe the characters are Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, Amy, and Shadow. I could be wrong there. For me, I was like, Sonic baby, all the way! And Roger Craig Smith even returns to voice him. But if you're not a Sonic fanboy like me, you might want to get into it for the story, because apparently these characters already exist in the Puyo universes. Although, I'm a huge fan of Tetris, and I've never seen these guys in a Tetris game, so I don't know why the characters act like they're all familiar, because they weren't for me. Really, that should be the only reason you'd get it, would be for the story and for seeing the combinations. But if you're not interested in the story, then I think Puyo Tetris 1 would probably be better, only because it's much cheaper, and it has just about every mode that this has, besides the RPG mode, and also the ability to switch paths in the story mode. So with that, thank you very much for watching. I hope I was able to give you an informed decision. Did I miss anything? Was I too harsh? Was I not harsh enough? Please let me know in the comment section. And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and Sega, I really hope that Year of Sonic that you had originally planned for 2020 is still in the works, because if Mario's 35th anniversary is going to be lame, and they're not going to do anything for Zelda's, then I hope you fill the void for Sonic the Hedgehog. Bye!